Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Let's get started. And our first one comes from Throwaway Bride 82-4. Am I the beehole for not letting my maid of honor choose her dress? I'm a 32-year-old female getting married in August. My best friend, Chrissy, fake name, is a 30-year-old female, agreed to be my maid of honor, and seemed really excited for me. I told her I wanted my colors to be dark green and pale pink, and she agreed. It was a really pretty combination, so when we were dress shopping, she kept picking out green dresses. I told her I wanted her to wear pink instead. She was disappointed and said she doesn't like pink, and would probably not buy a dress from the store we were at if it wasn't in the color she liked because the boutique was pricey. I can understand that, so I just asked that she find an appropriate dress in a specific shade of pink I like. Since then, she has been sending me links to dresses that are not close to the color at all, and green ones with pink floral. She made a comment about how I was her maid of honor a few years ago. She let me buy a dress I've worn multiple times since. This pissed me off because her colors were navy and silver. So of course the blue dress she wanted me to buy was more versatile, but it's my turn now and I think the dress is a standard part of the maid of honor role. It's making me think she's not going to be a good maid of honor to me. I mentioned this to my sister and she said I was being a bridezilla. She reminded me that Chrissy was a really relaxed bride, and that we obviously have different expectations about our wedding roles and need to talk it out. I know she's probably right, but I'm upset that she thinks I'm being a bridezilla. Chrissy's wedding was a lot different than what I would have picked for myself. It was really casual and had a lot of cutesy, homemade elements. My style is more elegant and classy, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. When I first started talking to Chrissy about my wedding plans, she kept reminding me it's one day and just a party, and stuff like that. But I've always dreamed about this day since I was little. I feel like Chrissy doesn't understand how important it is to me. That my day is picture perfect because she admitted getting married wasn't really ever important to her. My fiance says he understands why I'm upset. My sister says I suck, and Chrissy hasn't texted me back since I shot down the last few dresses she sent me. So, am I the beehole? We have a couple edits to the story, but the edits were in the beginning of the story. I changed it to the end of the story because I want to know, what happened before we get into the edits. So, here are the edits. Edit. I want to make it clear that Chrissy is my best friend. We've known each other for almost 10 years. I'm not kicking her out of the role or asking her to step down. We're not fighting about this. She's very supportive about everything else except this one thing. I just wanted to know if I was being unreasonable expecting her to wear what I want. Fine, I will ask if she wants me to help her pay for the dress. I still don't think I'm the beehole. I'll be honest, that last line makes me think you're the beehole, and yeah, you kinda sound like a bit of a bridezilla. Chrissy though, Chrissy sounds cool. I like her. That's a good type of woman you want, where she doesn't want to spend a ton of money on something like a lavish wedding. And yeah, like she said, it's just a party. The only thing I would go big on a wedding is the food, and that's just because I love food. And judging by those edits, you've already taken the advice of everybody in the comments on Reddit. But I agree with them. Poet Revolutionary 160 says, you're the beehole, which, yeah, I agree. You're not like a huge beehole from what it sounds like, but yeah, you're the beehole in this one. If you wanted her to pick a dress from a pricey boutique, you pay for it. I don't understand the tradition that bridal party should pay for their own outfits anyway. And yeah, I agree with that. These dresses are expensive, and I don't understand why it's up to the person who's not getting married to spend money on that. It's weird to me. It also doesn't sound like Chrissy's trying to pick the wrong colors or anything. You said green and pink. She went with green, which is one of the colors. I don't see why this is a whole thing. Yeah, if you want her to wear that dress, you better pay for it then, because it shouldn't, that's not fair to her. And our next one comes from Global Sound 92.8. Am I the beehole for telling my kid's teacher I wasn't upfront because she and her son are gossipers? My son, Dawson, is in the 6th grade and has been rather anxious. He has to give a victim impact statement. and has been preparing for it all this week. He's trying to keep it together and has been sleeping in my bed all of these months. He has an oral report due on Friday for his social studies class, and obviously he cannot do it. Because he has to be in court, I spoke to his teacher, Mrs. T, and said he has an appointment on Friday. That he can't miss it, and if he could possibly do his report on Monday. She asked why he can't do it on Thursday. I said that was a totally fair question, but there's something going on with him, and he's emotionally distraught. I don't want him breaking down in class and being made fun of. She said there was no excuse to punt an oral exam because Dawson has the jitters. I said it's way more than that. She said he can give his oral report Thursday or Friday or take a 0. I said I understand and that he'll take a 0. Your class isn't important in the grand scheme of things anyways. My son's emotional health is way more important. She was surprised that I said to give him a 0, because I'm a very involved dad. She told me to be upfront with her about what was going on, and I said I'm not telling you anymore. Later, I got a call from the vice principal who said I had a hostile conversation with Mrs. T, and requested that she give my son a 0, and I said that's not really accurate. I told him off the record that my son has to give a victim impact statement on Friday. He's a mess. He quickly said that by all means let him stay home tomorrow and Friday. He'd work out something with his teachers. I said I do not want anyone knowing his business. He assured me he wouldn't give any reason. I got an email from Mrs. T who said she wished I had been more open about what was going on. Because she cares about Dawson, she's worried about him now. I responded that I didn't tell her the details because you, and especially your son, he's in the same grade as Dawson, are gossip queens, and I don't trust you. She told me what I said was very hurtful, and I said, then don't ask and don't fish for information. Edit. The VP did not disclose why my son is out tomorrow and Friday. He said it was an approved absent and to send makeup work home today. Only Blabbermouth responded and fished for details after getting the email. Hi, OP. You are not the beehole. Mrs. T sounds like the beehole. I hate a gossip. I think a lot of people hate a gossip. She has no reason to try to pry into you and your son's personal life like that. Then she tried to use your son against you by saying she'll give him a 0. I'm with you. Let him take the 0. Who cares? This isn't going to do anything in the grand scheme of his life like you said. Also, I love that she says that she, loves your son and wants the best for him and all that, but then she makes a threat to give him a 0. You couldn't have worked with him? It's not like you were asking for a whole extra week to do the project. It's like the next day, Monday. Or not the next day, but after the weekend. You know what I mean. So like I said, no, OP, you are not the beehole. You're doing a great job protecting your child. And our next one comes from Certain Event 4362. Would I be the beehole if I left everything I own to my employee instead of my siblings? I'm getting up there in age, a 77-year-old male, and my health hasn't been the greatest. I suspect I only have a few years left. So, I've been arranging my will for after my eventual passing. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings. 3 brothers and 1 sister. The oldest of my siblings is 70 and the youngest is 59. I only have contact with them sparingly. Because of big differences in our values, I don't have any children and have never been married either. I own a small cafe where I serve drinks, coffee, tea, non-alcoholic drinks, etc., and small meals to go along with it. Above the cafe is an apartment where I live. I own the entire building as well as the ground it's built on. 3 years ago, I hired a part-timer, Leah, 16-year-old female at the time, now 19 years old, to help me out. I was doing everything alone before then. Leah has been a great help and really enthusiastic about work. She's helped me out a lot. Even outside of her work, our bond has become pretty great, and she often refers to me as her bonus grandpa. Because my bond with Leah is much better than my bond with my siblings, I intend to leave her the cafe, the apartment, and the ground to her when I pass. I know she would take good care of the cafe, and it would give her a really good head start by already having a place to live. I will be sitting with a lawyer to arrange everything in regards to taxes as well. My siblings have in recent years been discussing what to do with the building after I pass. Renting it out, letting their grandchildren use it, or just selling it have been options for them. They will most definitely not be pleased if I leave it to Leah instead. Would I be the beehole for leaving my property to my employee in my will instead of my siblings? Okay, so this one's a pretty easy one for me. OP, you are not the beehole. First of all, this is your property, you own all of it, so you can do with it whatever you want. I've had family stab me in the back. Heck, I've had one rob me. So, family doesn't really mean that much to me over someone who's been there for you your whole life, like Leah. I say, leave it for her, you know she's gonna love it, and treat it right. Your siblings slash family have shown that they do not care about what you've done and what you built. They're already talking about renting it out or just selling it. No, do what you want. Like I said, that is your property. And give it to that girl. That is an amazing blessing. I wish someone gave me a place to live and a successful business as soon as I got out of, high school. That's insane. And our next one comes from FitBoss68. Am I the beehole for dressing up too much at my kid's school? I, female, 42, was told by my husband, a 51-year-old male, that I shouldn't dress up to go to our child's elementary school. I love fashion, and I do tend to dress up. I don't like wearing jeans, I don't like the feel, and it's hot where I live. So, I wear a lot of skirts, usually T-length, or to the knee, and trouser-type pants. I love finding interesting prints and cuts. I usually wear heels, and only wear activewear to the gym. I spend a lot of hours cultivating my wardrobe. I volunteer at my daughter's school often. I'm on the PTO board, and do pick up and drop off, so I'm there a lot, and the teachers know me pretty well. I'm also one of the older moms in elementary, and my husband is the oldest dad. We were at an awards ceremony. I was wearing a printed jumpsuit with an asymmetrical neckline. One of the teachers told me I always look like I just walked out of Sex and the City. I took this as a compliment, since it's an iconic show. My husband said it wasn't, and she was saying I'm always overdressed. He also said the other parents don't appreciate me trying to show off since they mostly wear jeans or activewear. My husband is retired and rarely dressed up, which is fine with me, especially since he had to wear a suit every day for 30 years. It's all personal preference, I think. I just prefer different. He used to love my style, but seems over it since he's retired, so should I be dressing more like the other parents? Hi OP, you are not the beehole. Those parents sound like they're jealous that you look good and that they want to pull you down to their level and look all, frowsy and frumpy. So when I originally read the title of the story, I thought you were going to have it all hanging out, but no, it sounds like you're dressed appropriately. I don't know, well, I know what they do. They want to bring you down to their level because they can't get up to your level in outfits. And our next one comes from AtiaMom3837. Am I the beehole for being upset with my parents because they don't consider my adopted daughter their granddaughter? I adopted my husband's niece, Sarah, 9 years ago. While it was hard for Sarah to adapt at first, she loves us and is our daughter. She's an amazing kid and loves me and my family. I'm currently pregnant, and 2 weeks ago we found out it was a girl. When we told my parents, they were excited about their first granddaughter. It bothered me, but I tried to ignore it. But yesterday I had enough. Mom was mentioning things to pass down, and I reacted stronger than I probably should have, but I was pretty mad. Sarah is their granddaughter since she was 2. Luckily, they didn't say it around Sarah, but I was not happy. We had a fight over it, with them claiming Sarah doesn't count and trying to justify it by saying she's from my husband's family, not ours. But she's my daughter. Their granddaughter. She calls them her grandparents. My sister is her aunt, and my nephew is her cousin. If they don't accept Sarah, there's no way I'm wanting them around either daughter. My husband thinks what they said was wrong, but thinks I should let it go. He thinks it wasn't meant the way I'm taking it. But with his history, he tends to be a bit of a pushover when it comes to family. Understanding, obviously, but still. And they haven't apologized. If anything, they've doubled down. I don't want Sarah hearing any of this. And if I can't trust them to treat our girls equal, then I can't trust them with them. Everyone else thinks I'm overreacting, but I don't agree. Hi OP, I'm gonna say you're not the beehole, and I'm with you on this one. While they haven't said it straight out, the way they're acting, saying that, oh, their first granddaughter, it tells you a lot. And it sounds like, yeah, they're going to treat your adopted child worse than, your biological child. And that's not fair, especially since she's known you guys for so young. Just like I said in the previous story, you do what you need to do to protect your child. And it sounds like you might need to keep them away from them until they see the error of their ways, because that's not fair treating the child like that. And our final story comes from Throwaway09296330. Am I the beehole for drinking on my designated driver nights? Me and my group of close friends go out to drink reasonably often, and we all take turns being the DD, in rotations of sorts. The issue for me is that I'm heavily visually impaired to the point where I can't and never will be able to legally drive, even using bioptics or other assistive tech. Instead, on my nights, I pay for an Uber or a taxi for all of us, which others have said is a completely acceptable option for them. The problem comes up with me drinking on my nights, even though I'm not actually driving, and can't be reasonably expected to. One of my friends expressed that it's not fair that I get to drink on my nights, when everybody else holds back on their nights. In my view, it's not unfair at all. If anyone else wanted to drink on their own night, they are more than welcome to pay for an Uber the way I do every time it's my night. They just usually choose not to. Am I the beehole? I'm no alcoholic, and I'm more than fine with going through the event or an outing without drinking or anything. But I also don't see the point in holding back when I reasonably could have one. Hi, OP. I'm gonna say no, you're not the beehole. Even if you didn't have the thing with your eyes, if you do what you do right now, pay for an Uber, pay for a taxi to get everyone home safe, then it doesn't matter because the whole goal of a designated driver is to get everybody home safe and sound and not, drive and drink. And like you said, they have the same option. They can go out and drink, but they need to pay for an Uber or a taxi to get everyone else home. So I don't see how it's unfair. Like you said, they can do the same exact thing as you. Thank you so much for staying with me to the end of this video. Can you please do what I said in the beginning and like, comment, and subscribe? It will really help the channel out, and it'll get you more videos like this every day. Velvet out.